as a touring stand-up comedian, I travel a lot. And most of the time that travel is by plane, and mostly it goes pretty well, 7 out of 10 times. That might be high. Maybe it's like 6.7 out of 10 times. It goes without a hitch. It's pretty seamless. This one particular day, it was June 24th of the year 2024. I had boarded a flight, and there was a man who had boarded just next to me. And before we had taken off, I looked down in my periphery to see that he was putting his whole left leg right in front of my leg, where my right leg is supposed to go if I want to stretch out, which I do like to do some of the time. I'm not talking about a little bit of an encroachment. A little bit of encroachment is normal. It happens all the time. I've allowed it a lot. I have temporarily had to benefit from moving over a bit to shift in my seat or find something in my bag or address something for my small child. But this man was not with encumbrances. He had no baggage. We were in the front, bulkhead row. There was no one except each of us traveling alone. And his foot, his whole size 12, I would guess, fully grown man's foot, just like in my area. My immediate response was not to say anything, but to lift up my right leg and put it over onto his side above his leg. So I was like this, and this was his foot over here. And I kept it there for like a shit disturbing amount of time. Like, I know that me doing that makes me petty, but it also makes me hilarious. And it amused myself. And I took a picture for you. No, I didn't know you would exist. I didn't know I would have a podcast, but I do share these things with my friends. I'm going to get ahead of any of you who might be already, for whatever reason, sympathizing with this man. I'm going to give you some basic facts about the situation. It was not a long flight. We were flying from Portland, Oregon, back to Vancouver, BC, which is like a 1 hour and 16 minute direct flight. And if the flight leaves late, the pilot will say, we can be there in 5 minutes and make up the time. Anyways, this all occurred before takeoff. This man was not like suffering for the maximum amount of time possible and then putting his foot out. This happened before the flight took off. Also, we had bulkhead seats. We were like the first row that was not business class, and those are coveted seats. Nobody assigned him that seat against his will. That man picked that seat. He knew it was going to be the window seat, and he knew it was going to be bulkhead with extra room. That is a pay extra kind of seat, and that's what he did, and that's what I did. I mean, do I have to explain why this bothers me? I think this would bother any woman. This is basically like us having to absorb extra space of a man just because he finds himself uncomfortable even for a short time. I posted about this on Instagram and TikTok, and I will say that I found a lot of solidarity and common ground in most of the like hundreds and thousands of likes and comments that I received. I was surprised, although I don't know why, to see a lot of comments on TikTok mostly, and mostly from males or anonymous accounts, which are males behind them, defending this man and educating me and putting it back to me that I was being unreasonable and selfish, and they really thought that this man was due extra space because of two main factors. One, that he was a man with legs, long legs, and two, that he had balls. A lot of people asked me if I knew that he had a dick and balls, and they explained to me that aspect of his anatomy meant that he needed to spread out and that I should just give him extra space. And they called me names. I'm not really sad. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these. You can see some of these. Jacob with a K said, "Let me explain. We find it more comfortable to not crush or balls." They always make typos, these people. "We find it more comfortable to not crush our balls in a position we don't like." For example, we have it in certain positions to be comfortable. What? Keeping legs together changes that. So he doesn't think that I should ask a man to keep his legs closed. People say that to women all the time. Keep your legs closed. They say that when they're wearing skirts, like be polite, close your legs. Or they say that when a woman has been horrifically sexually assaulted without her own consent. Why didn't you keep your legs closed? Okay, next. Sydney says, if you had balls between your thighs and long legs, you too would spread them out in a confined spot. It's not just about you. Humble yourself. First of all, I get it. This man has long legs, but guess what? He also had a seat in a row that was meant for stretching out. We both paid extra for this. Also, like, he was not cramped in there. He is visibly slouching so that he is making himself require more room for his legs. The airplane was not short so that he needed to slouch. He was just choosing to be comfortable. He didn't want his legs to be a little bent. He wanted them to be like less bent. And that was really important to him. And I was supposed to just let him do that. Oh, and you can see in this picture that he is seated beside a door that I wanted to open and jump out of. Women don't understand, nor do they care, that we do this out of necessity to not squish our balls and to be in pain. Does it hurt that much? Could it? Because there's other men out there who also, I assume, have balls, but they don't do that. I've seen tall men not manspread like this. I wonder if they've all been in pain. Huh. James says, we do this because it is comfortable for us. It hurts our nuts sometimes. Not trying to suppress women, if that's what you're getting at. Thinking emoji. Actually, you are suppressing women when you make them take up less space in space that they f***ing paid for. You are suppressing my right to also spread my legs out, which I deserve. How do you know I don't have balls? And even if I didn't have balls, how do you know I don't have like a large vulva? Or like if I was hit with a baseball at a Jays game or something and it's really swollen, why would you assume that that is not the case? And if I did have balls, would you let me spread out too? And what if I needed to spread out? Would we just entangle our legs? Have two tall men with balls never sat beside each other so that this was a problem? Or do men generally respect each other and each other's spaces? This is a real question. Another man says, we have male parts. They don't just sit on our laps. Imagine they just sat on your laps asking for candy or telling you the Christmas wish, or telling you their Christmas wishes. Anyways, we must spread our legs a bit. I've seen men fully cross their legs, but the next time I see a man cross his legs, I'm just going to assume he has no balls, or he's been castrated, or he has really small balls. Is that something that people get made fun of? I would actually prefer a man with small balls. I wonder if he's like automatically more considerate. Anyways, I have to say, I've seen some baseball and men in public, and men are often adjusting things in their pants. I have assumed that it is dick and balls. If you have the capacity to adjust your dick and balls, like while being televised for playing like baseball on in Major League Baseball, can you not do it in your seat when you're just like maybe preparing to not be inconsiderate and taking up a woman's space? Interesting. Women don't have a penis and testicles. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks a lot, Stickboy321. Next time you're on a flight, of course he spelled it Y-O-U-R. Try sitting with a banana and 2 plums. He spelled plums wrong too. What the fuck is wrong with people? Try sitting with a banana and 2 plums between your legs and see if you can touch your knees together comfortably for several hours. First of all, I told you this was a short flight. Also, I am going to try this. I will bring a banana and 2 plums spelled properly between my legs and see if I can touch my knees together. Also, are you saying that your dick and balls would behave like fruit, like a banana and 2 plums? Are they that delicate, like your ego, that if they were squished a little bit, they would like stain your fucking pants? Also, whose balls are the size of plums? A plum is like this fucking big. Go see a doctor. Another person, a woman, said, he's not doing anything, ... First of all, ending a statement with a question mark I find incorrect and also super annoying. And ... question mark, you're stupid. His legs are entirely contained within the armrests. What? They are not. Look, they are not at all. He's not in your space at all. He's doing nothing wrong. Oh, I bet this is that guy who created a profile with a woman's face on it just to say this. Oh my God, what is wrong with people? A lot of people were here for this. A lot of women really enjoyed this. Some called me a hero, but thank you. Oh, here's a good man. I'm tall. I do not do this. Now I fly first class, so instead of suffering and not taking someone else's space, I pay to be comfortable. Choices are a good thing. Good for you, sir. I maybe think that this is what this man should have done. I'm sure he's gotten like 2 or 3 extra promotions based on male tallness alone. Also, like, this is kind of like the reclining conversation. There's a lot of people that think that people shouldn't be able to recline. I do believe in reclining because that's what your seat naturally does. And it is your seat. Come for me. I don't give a shit. This man was basically reclining outwards and into my seat. Do you understand? This is worse than reclining. I've decided. Forget that I said that. Anyways, there was a poll that I did on at least my Instagram post, and I asked people how many times this sort of thing has happened to them. 72% said too much to count. 6% said 6 to 10 times, and 11% said 1 to 4 times. And that means that 89% of respondents on this poll said that this kind of manspreading has happened to them at some point. That is a fucking lot, okay? So what is my point here? What is my point? I think I'm overall just bothered, of course, that this happened anyways, that this is like a normal thing that someone would do. I mean, if he meant to do it, that's a problem. If he didn't know that he was doing, also a fucking problem. I think we all have to be conscious of our space and how considerate we're being to people. And he was just not doing that. I'm not saying he's like a horrible person, but in that moment, that was not a nice thing to do. And I wanted to bring awareness to it. I am more surprised and really disappointed at some of the comments where it seems that a lot of people believe that this guy's needs came first and that I should have just given him my extra space. May I ask, though, do you have a room in your home that you're not using all the time? If so, you really should consider lending it home. There's probably a homeless person within a few blocks of your home. You should let that person come and just use your space when you're out at work or going out for the night. How about that? I'm going to put another poll up to see if you have experienced this. I have a new audience now with this video podcast, and I'd love to know what you think. If this has ever happened to you and what you have done, would you have done anything differently? I kind of like my response. I mean, I could have said something to the man, but I didn't need to get in an argument, and I didn't need to make a giant point, and I would have. I often prefer to do just what's kind of a little absurd and silly and what's satisfying to me. And this is exactly what it was. And I'm a big fan of like matching energy. And in this case, I was just like matching physical encroaching energy. And it was over almost as soon as it began, but it made a little bit of a point. And I'm glad to have shared it with you because a lot of you found it a little bit cathartic, and I'm glad to be here for it. And finally, to the man who manspread into my footrest space on this very, very short flight from Portland to Vancouver. I like your shorts. They're really nice. I'd like to get them for my husband. Where'd you get them? Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Bothered. Please like, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends and family, also your enemies. I've got a bunch of shows coming up with some new dates. Am I going to read off my website? Absolutely. April 23rd, Punchline, San Francisco. May 6th, Salt Spring Island. First time going there. May 10th, Victoria, BC. May 15th in Calgary, Alberta. May 24th in Vancouver at Vogue Theatre. Very excited for that one, as I am for all of them. June 6th at the Ice House in Pasadena. June 19th, West Nyack, Levity Live in New York State. Also, Philadelphia, Helium Comedy Club on September 18th. Please come to all of them. That's how I will know that I have a stalker. No, come to some of those or one of those, and make sure to check out the blog version, juliekimcomedy.com/podcast. I have written versions of the stories that are a little bit different with some pictures and videos and sometimes the odd GIF where it makes sense. Oh, you can also write in and share your stories. You can share an audio note or a response to an episode. I love getting those. bothered@juliekimcomedy.com. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. See you soon.
Living like this, I might lose it.